should be live. Yes. A little bit late, y'all. Sorry for being late. You know I had to set up the OBS and things of that nature. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Sipping with SOLZ, episode 21. Episode 21, Easter Sunday, Sinners Weekend. You see what I'm saying? Playoff weekend. The playoffs started this weekend as well. Very, very eventful weekend. The guest run continues. I want to shout out LKIB Damo for being the official first guest on the SWS podcast. Technically, it was Omar low key when he pulled up that one time, but I ain't counting that. But you know we had to bring back the Don. Okay. I'm trying to get Say John next. He may not be the actual next guest, but I'll keep y'all updated on that. But nevertheless, Sipping with SOLZ, episode 21. We got the O in the building, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm real good. Real good, I'm telling you. This is real good.
Why? Yeah, you had a good workout? Like, what? Why you feeling like this, man?
Life is up. I mean, I'm tired, but everything's up. Everything is in a good spot. I think I said this before in a meeting one time. Like, we're looking at the corner, that turn on the track. We're looking at the turn, and all we got to do is just hit that turn, and man, it's up. And it's a good time too. Like middle of the year, that's when you want to be staring at that turn for real. And then towards the end of the year, just bow, fire through that thing. It's good, man. Life is good.
Okay. Real quick, they are saying there's double audio. My bad, chat. Why is there double audio? Is it Omar echoing chat?
Can't be me. Is it me? How can it be me?
I think it's Omar echoing. All right. Let's see. My bad, y'all. My bad.
Oh.
We're using something different today.
The blood still works.
Actually, don't riff. I was about to tell you to riff. Do not riff. Monitor only. What the fuck? Give me 1 second, chat.
Oh damn, they said it's me. Stuff.
Yeah. Monitor off. Monitor off. It says monitor off. What the fuck? Monitor only, mute output. Alright, if I do this. Alright, talk real quick.
Hello everyone. It is I, Omar. I like troubleshooting live. I don't know why. I love it. And I love it.
Okay, that might have made it worse.
Oh, these worse now. It's not my settings. It can't be my setting.
All right. What if I do this, chat? All right. Talk again.
All right. We're gonna try this again, where I talk as well.
All right. That should be good. I don't know why I had to mute it, but we should be good.
Oh, we're good. That's what they say.
All right, we're good. Okay. All right, let me just restart the recording. All right. 3, 2, 1. I know it's going to look live on the VOD, but ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we just got a little bit of a live exclusive over there. Welcome back to another episode of Sipping with SOLZ, episode 21. Okay, Easter weekend, right? Sinners Weekend. You know, we had to go on a guest run. We're continuing the guest run. Shout out to Damo for becoming the first guest on Sipping with SOLZ. I'm trying to get all the co-hosts. Let's keep it about co-hosts on here for their official SWS interview. And the second guy up to the bat is Mr. Omeezy, man. How you been?
I'm good, man. Real good. I'm too good.
Too
Hella,
good?
yeah, hella good.
Let's run the script back again. What's making you feel good, man? What's in the air? What's in the air?
I said this in a meeting before. I really think I did say this, but I feel like we're staring at the corner. Like if you're running on a track, there's a little curve before you get back on the next straight. And we're about to hit that shit and be in like the best position to just go straight ahead full steam into a successful second half of the year, end of the year, et cetera, et cetera. Like it's a good time to be hitting it too, like middle of the year. You don't want I guess the same thing like with playoff basketball. You want to peak at a certain time. And I feel like we're looking at it. We're looking at this stride that we're about to hit. It's just lovely.
Yeah, I'm excited for the pod, bro. I was very excited going into the year, and I'm glad, our methods are honestly working. I think priorities are much better than it was last year, and I think honestly, not every year is gonna be a great year. I think looking back, 2024 just wasn't a good year for us. For the pod, individually, different story, but for the pod, it was a lackluster year, man.
It's funny that we say that too, because like if people knew what like lackluster meant, I mean, the floor is the ceiling. The ceiling is the ceiling is the roof. Like I don't know, but I understand what you're saying. I think there was a lot of trials, tribulations, lessons, and you do got to have those years. I think it's very important to have those years.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta learn the hard way. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have certain belief systems that you truly believe in, but you will truly find out if you believe in them, if you're in the right scenario or not. And then once that scenario happens, that's when you decide if you were spitting. And we had a lot of theories to test out last year. We weren't really spitting on a lot of them. I'm sorry. At least in my opinion.
Yeah. We're not gonna call any names, but yeah. Okay. Dang, I'm looking at I just looked at last year versus 23. Yeah, half the views, like 30 million to 15 million type shit.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, man. It was pretty bad. But regardless, how was your weekend, man? I know, like I said earlier, this is a pretty eventful weekend. Has it been an eventful weekend so far?
I think so. Started it off with 2 terrible basketball games at the park on Friday. It's just trash, but ended up getting a haircut, ended up watching Sinners. Ended up just catching up on rest. I think I'm going hard during the week, and I find my weekends are just playing catch up, like closes all over the place, or just stuff like that, just out of order stuff. But I did get to spend time with the family today, and I got some time to do like a creative passion of taking, or creative hobby outlet, I should say, by taking pictures, and that was fun. So
yeah. The one thing that pisses me off about taking pictures is no one knows how to take pictures of me. You know what I'm saying? No one knows how to ever take a picture of the camera, man. Because I see your pics, man. The pics of everyone else, cool. But where's the O flick? Like who gonna take a pic for O? You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, what's crazy? I'm trying to figure out a way to do that because Instagram is important, quote unquote, but also just like I think we talked about it 2 years ago, just journaling our lives. And nobody does want to take a picture of the cameraman. Especially once you get complex with your system, hell yeah, it's hard to really capture the cameraman with a complex ass camera.
I will say, this was an old one too, a Canon 80D before I went Sony. The one thing nice about Canon, they have this feature where it's like touch the shutter. So if you give it to someone, it's literally like using a phone where you just touch wherever you want to focus on, it'll focus on it and snap the picture right there. I wish Sony would add that. That shit was so nice. Yeah,
I've been forcing Danielle to get into the camera thing. You need to learn.
It's for me.
Yeah. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. Sometimes auto works though. Like sometimes you gotta throw it in auto. Fuck it.
Yeah. Speaking of sinners, I feel like I want to save a lot of the conversation for tomorrow. Just a real quick one line synopsis of your feelings about it. You know, what would it be?
Complex feelings, but best movie this year, and we have to have serious talks about Ryan Coogler.
In a good way, I'm assuming?
Yeah, in a good way as a director, yeah. We have to have serious conversations.
Yeah, bro. I liked it. The only thing I'll say, and I'll expand on it tomorrow as well. Man, this is why I don't ever listen to reviews, man. This is why I don't ever listen to reviews. I'll explain tomorrow. I still think it's a great movie. All right, let me get that straight. Great movie, but 100, the hundreds was killing me. I don't.
You know what's funny though, because I feel like I was the first one to start that narrative on the pod of just like, nah, I'm not consuming anything outside. I don't want to like take in anybody's criticisms or whatever because it's gonna skew my perspectives. You can answer it. You can wait till tomorrow. Do you think that you feel this way because you went into it with the idea that it was a 100 movie, or
genuinely, yeah? Because I was like, oh my, I gotta cry by the end of this movie. Like I gotta cry. Didn't cry. You know, the story isn't for my people. You know, so didn't hit as home as other stories.
Y'all fucked up. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all was fucking up in the movie.
My bad.
Yeah,
my bad.
Somebody had to progress the plot, but hated it had to be y'all.
Yeah, but I heard Damo spaced that night too. I think he has some listens. Well, we'll get into it tomorrow. I don't want to blow the load here too much. But you know, this is the old interview. We gotta. I feel like this is allow me to reintroduce myself interviews with y'all, man. Because I feel like we've been doing this for 4 or 5 years. Some people, you know how some people like just know about Kai these last 2 years, but they don't know Kai for real. You know, they don't know when he was a YouTuber. They just know him as a streamer. Some people know y'all as just like, you know, the content creators that y'all are right now. You know, us on the pod these last 2 years. But we really got to take it way back. So I want you to, you know, just kind of introduce yourself here real quick. The origins of O. Where are you from?
Thank you. You know, Omar, brother Omar, Omeezy, all these things, hailing from Atlanta, Georgia. Not the real Atlanta though. Like if you ask like a real ATLian, Atlantan, I'm not really from Atlanta.
Oh, so you in Worcester then?
The Worcester of
Hey, he in the Worcester of Atlanta.
I'm in the Worcester of Atlanta. Yeah. What's it called? But so, you know, I think my claim to fame is that I'm Legend of Winning's brother.
Mm-hmm.
Still getting those comments today. Wow, I did not know he was Lowe's brother. But yeah, claim to fame being Legend of Winning's brother. Sadly though, or well, maybe not sadly, but he wasn't actually my introduction to the internet. Which I think we'll get into in a second. But yeah, he wasn't my introduction to the internet. But that's where I am, where I'm from, 28. Oldest on the pod out of the collective. Huh? Old guy, grandpa.
You know, you embrace it too. It too.
I'm not ducking from the old smoke. Like,
but you know what's crazy? I think personality-wise, you haven't changed over these last 4 or 5 years that I've known you. It's just your personality matches your age now. So it's like, okay, he can... Because you've been acting like a unk since you were 24. But now that you're actually unk, you know, it fits now. You can get it off now.
And I'm okay with that. And when I was at the park Friday, this dude started crashing out on my team and seriously wanted to fight. And I looked around, and he's young. I was like, dog, do you know what a fight would do to a 28-year-old body? I just don't even have the mentality. Like, I can't even mentally get myself prepared for a fight. Yeah, 28 is different, brother. Once you get there, you'll realize you don't got time for a lot of the stuff. Just,
I feel like that's me now. I feel like that's why I'm not confrontational with things. I don't got time for this, bro. I don't. It's gonna get worse.
Yeah, it's gonna be worse.
Oh my god!
It's some stuff that you should definitely like have a voice in. And you're gonna be like, I don't know. God, I don't even care. I just don't care.
You know what's crazy? I feel like, and maybe this is just like in terms of my wanted character development, I see myself being a little bit more confrontational. 27, 28. But we'll see. Only time will tell, right?
Oh shit! I'm ready for it. I'm ready to be in Atlanta at the Big Daddies, and you turn around. No, we good. Because I'm gonna be sitting there. Nah, you can go ahead. Man. I don't really
what are the rules, right? You can cut them.
Yeah. What are the rules? I don't even know at this point.
Okay, but like you mentioned earlier, I feel like a lot of people initially, maybe not now, knew you as Legend of Winning's brother. And for the sake of this podcast, I want to ask you the first question I ever asked you the first time you guessed on Let's Keep It a Buck, man. So growing up with Legend of Winning, what was the dynamic like? You know what I'm saying? What was it? I think I'm better equipped to ask this question now, because I think, truly, I think it is very rare for two siblings in the same household to become as successful content creators as y'all have been. I also view y'all as two people that are genuinely just naturally entertaining, good debaters, good conversationalists, all of these things. So is that like a part of how y'all grew up? I'm assuming it is, but I would love for you to speak on that dynamic and shit.
The dynamic question is so funny. I mean, he's a brother, so like anybody that has a sibling, and I'm not even gonna say that. I take that back, because our dynamic wasn't like that when we were growing up. Like we didn't necessarily talk. My brother said to me that we had too many differences to, get along. He's older, I'm younger, all that stuff like that. We're only 3 years apart. You would think that we were like 8 or 9 or some shit like that.
I'm about to say that's not me and my sisters actually have an 8-9 year age gap. So we didn't talk about serious matters like that for real. When she was in elementary, I was in fucking high school. Like, what are we talking about?
What are we talking about right now? Yeah, but that's him. That's his stance. I don't know if he still stands on it. But
okay.
What's it called? So I feel like in our household and in our family's dynamic, I mean, conversation was just key. And I'm not saying conversation is always confrontation, even though like our family is loud. But you were always welcome to have opinions. Now, you knew your opinions were going to get challenged, for sure. You had to be able to explain why, even if it's something that somebody else agreed with. So if you're recommended, if somebody asks you, oh, well, what do you want for dinner? You say Olive Garden. They might want Olive Garden too, but you got to be able to stand in the fire and say why you wanted Olive Garden. We were always doing presentations as a youth. You had your little Easter speech. I think that's like a black thing. You have a little Easter speech or whatever. And with that being said, even in me and my brother's dynamic, I mean, there was always back and forth. Like you needed to be able to stand on your square and tell your opinion, like, and back it up.
Mm-hmm. So at least from like my childhood, I feel like I was raised in the, just listen to what your parents said type dynamic, where like if they said something, this is just how you should live life, damn near. Like growing up, was that y'all family dynamic, or was it a very open floor of, if you truly believe this way, you believe this way type thing?
I think part of what you're saying is true. Like, there was open place and space for conversation. So we had to have those talks and stuff. But the other part was you're just gonna listen to elders to a degree. But my mom came from a generation of like we got the final say so, et cetera, et cetera. So she wanted to go hard away from that. Now, with that being said, I just have the personality through like other members of my family and stuff like that, I'm not gonna not be heard. I'm going to be heard. Even if it means I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna say what I want to say, get the whooping, and then still say what I want to say afterwards.
That's right. So yeah, your brother was like that too, or was that just you?
No, that was just me.
What the fuck?
Totally opposite in
He was
that
the
regard.
bad kid.
Yeah, Dennis the Menace, if you're familiar, for the people that are listening, it was just me. He was actually the opposite, like very go with the flow, whatever somebody says goes. I'm just gonna, kind of just chill and just be with whatever. Now, me on the other hand, I'm speaking for me and I'm speaking for my brother. And I'm telling him what to do. So it's always been like this. That's why when he came on the other day, or when I called the other day,
Mhm.
you know, when he talked the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, this is the same. If anything, it's like a lessened version of yourself." That's real. That's real.
Okay. I mean, I believe it. I have no choice but to believe it. I don't know. But for those who don't know how we met, it was primarily through like a basketball background. I still believe. Same thing with Lo. So when it comes to the household and basketball conversations, like, was there a lot of basketball debates during the house? Uh, like, was Lo as obsessed with basketball as he is now, or is he just like to argue type shit? Like, what was that like?
I think what's strange is like, I mean, we had basketball conversations like most brothers do, but not like really, really, really in depth. And then when he started to get more into like creating content and stuff like that, it definitely kind of went to the side. I know I would bust in his room occasionally, pause, and just talk basketball. Hey, pull up this basketball reference, random question. Who do you think is I'm just using this as an example. We grew up in the 80s, so definitely these two players run around. But who do you think is better, Donovan Mitchell or Jamal Murray? Type shit. And we're pulling up basketball reference and da 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 da. So, we're going based off of that type of stuff, but not like, first take. We're really like having like 4 or 5 debates back to back to back. No, it wasn't like that.
Okay. I do want to ask you, because again, you were in a household where one of your siblings was a successful content creator. Was that a part of your inspiration to create content yourself, or were you inspired by other people and that wasn't an influence at all?
Hell no. I was inspired by dollars and cents. And I know most people don't want to hear that, but like he was creating YouTube videos. Me and my mom had no clue what he was doing, for real, for real.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't watching YouTube like that back then. And I will continue to maintain that. I think I watched a handful of YouTubers, for real, for real. But like 2 out of the handful was NBA highlights. So that I don't even really think that counts. That's why I don't get a lot of these references that people talk about when they talk about old streaming stuff, like 2011, 12 streaming and YouTube culture.
So
I
when
don't
people say they're inspired by Chris Move, you don't get that at all, like that type of thing.
like I watch Chris Move, but I don't even know what they mean by I don't even get that. I don't get being inspired by YouTube. To me was clips of television. I did occasionally watch some like College Humor, but I was never like subscribed to these people. I would just Google them. Video game reviews. So,
So
but
it
I
was
don't.
more so like a search engine to you
Yeah,
type shit.
like low key. And then I had some people that I might come back to because I'm trying to figure some stuff out. Like I wanted some basketball shoes, so I'm going to Kick Genius or Nightwing or whatever the case may be, or I wanted some new Jordans. That I use it primarily for that. But when people are like, "Oh yeah, you remember Ice Poseidon back in the day?" Me, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
So
but you've mentioned guys like Casey Neistat before, though. Like that wasn't inspirational to you, or?
I found out about Casey Neistat and went backwards. I didn't know about Casey Neistat back then.
Okay. So this point of inspiration, I understand you just said it's about the dollars and the cents. Like, when was that? Was it seeing Low succeed monetarily the way that he did, or was it AMP? Like, what phase was that?
Um, AMP. It definitely wasn't when my brother was living in the house. I didn't know what he was doing. I figured it wasn't for me. And what's crazy is, I think Damo's even shared this sentiments. I always used to make content though. Like I would have long Snapchat stories and long Instagram stories before people were making like long stories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I would just rant and I would get shit off or whatever. I didn't know people were setting it up on the camera and posting it in any place. I would just rant on the story. But still, no desire. Brother rooms with agent, still no desire. I see they got a big house. They're buying. Still no desire. AMP comes around. Even as I start working with AMP, still no desire. Agent was like, if you want to get further, you should probably get better at doing, like, just learning the concepts and the things that we have going on. So I had a camera from like the shoots and stuff like that. I cut it on. And that's what started it all. So once I saw all of that, it was more so about being better at the job that I was currently doing as opposed to like becoming a content creator.
I think that's such an interesting background, and I do think that explains a lot in terms of our viewpoints, like the rest of the pod and you, when it comes to content, because you truly do come from bro. The only reason this is attractive to me is from a business standpoint, is from an opportunity standpoint. But if you ask Damo, if you ask me, if you ask Sage, we were first inspired by people from a content perspective, just wanted to, imitate and be inspired by certain content creators. And then we found out about at least I did. I found out about the money aspect after I started getting the views. So I guess like me and the rest of the pod is like more traditional in that sense when it comes to looking at content. And you're definitely more progressive. Would you agree or not really?
I would probably agree, and that's what makes me try to stay a little bit more technical. And I think from a personality standpoint, what people may not realize is, although in my circles I'm pretty extroverted, I would make a very good argument, especially because like you went out of the way to make content. Sage went out of the way to make content. I'd probably make the argument that I'm probably like the most introverted person on the pod.
Disagree.
And I don't. You think so?
I think it's me.
I think it's I think I have to sometimes. So that's what makes me. But I'm telling you, like when I was growing up, I mean, I went through all of the phases of social media more than you did. Like the only person that would come close is Damo. I went through MySpace, Facebook, Instagram at its early inceptions, Twitter at its early inceptions, Snapchat at its early. I went through all of these, and I went intentionally away from making a following because I just did not like people. I know that's my claim right there, but I think if you grew up in that same time frame, because you also would have gotten inspired, you would have naturally had to have come out and talk and all this other stuff. You would have been a creator. But like, I went away from it because I don't like people. The only reason why, not the only reason why, I think it's like fun and all this other stuff now, especially, but the only reason why I hopped into this is because I had a job tied to doing content. I wouldn't have done it otherwise.
The only era that I missed from what you said was the MySpace era. I don't even know if you know this app. Do you know Fster? Do you know that website app, Fster? No.
Yeah.
That was like Facebook before Facebook for me. That's how me and my parents kept up when I was in the Philippines and they were here. I remember this. there was one edit of like I think my mom made a montage of like me and my mom, and it was the music behind it was "No One" by Alicia Keys. Well, I hopped on a call with my mom, started bawling my eyes out, and that's when she forced me to come back to America so we can be together. That crazy story, but yeah, Friendster. I owe a lot to Friendster, man. Friendster brought together a broken immigrant family, no cap. So,
but let me ask you this real quick. Do you think that, because we have a decent enough age gap, do you think that Facebook was really your age group's go-to social media platform at some point?
I truly believe so. I vividly remember there was a point in time, maybe not 09, but I think by 09, I don't know if this my parents used to run my Facebook account. I know that sounds weird, but I know a lot of people that had that dynamic, and then once they got older, they just transferred it over to their kids. But yeah, like Facebook was my main platform for like 3-4 years, and then Instagram came around, and then Snapchat came around, And then YouTube was always there as like a Netflix. Like I always considered it social media, but not really. Now that I look back, like it was its own separate thing. And then Twitter was like what 2016, 2017.
I remember Twitter just a little bit earlier before that, and maybe there's different eras on these platforms too, so that also is it. But I know I still maintain the fact that if there wasn't a job directly associated with this, I would never like have had any platform. I think I had the smallest Instagram following for a decent minute out of all of us. But I've probably had Instagram for either the longest or like at the inception of Instagram or whatever.
So when you were on Locker Room, because that's where I vividly remember like having first conversations with you, was that just off the strength of like wanting to have conversation? Like you wasn't thinking about content creation at all?
My homeboy wanted to do something. I ain't gonna lie. I had a friend. We've never ran across him in Atlanta, but my homeboy wanted to do something, and I just wanted to talk hoops, like especially differently. My friends in Ira, like they talk hoops, but it's not to the level that we talk hoops or whatever. But this friend did talk hoops. I just wanted to talk hoops, and there was no platform really to talk hoops that we could both access. And then came across Locker Room, but it wasn't about like, oh, we're about to make a this, then the third. I think he might have made some branding. Me, dog, can we talk? We can call each other. We don't have to do it on anything.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so let's fast forward here a little bit. I think we're already there. Working with A&P. So how did that opportunity come about? And what was it like in the early days working for A&P? Because for those who don't know, Omar worked with them early stages, very early stages. Not anymore, but we'll get into that as well. But yeah, how was it? How'd that opportunity come about?
Production needs. They needed production needs pretty doggone badly. And production needs were small back then. Like, can you keep the batteries charged, make sure that the cameras are here, make sure that the SD cards are clear, and make sure if we need a chair or two for whatever prop that we're doing or a whistle or whatever, can you get it for us? So that's truly what I did. It was stuff that small, and I would just go pick it up. I would pick it up or just charge them here, because they were forgetting these things. These things just weren't being, happening during that time. They were really doing it, they were doing a lot of stuff, just grab and go or cowboy style. Like it was very loose back then. Hell, Toasted. I think Agent flew Toasted down to Atlanta one time to be a cameraman. It was Toasted.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, like back then they were doing stuff just kind of off the strength of like connections. Davis knew somebody with a gym. It was simple back then.
But how did you get that opportunity? Was it like like Agent had a need, low reached out type shit, or?
So Agent had mentioned something to my brother about it. He was like, "Yo, I mean, would Omar be down?" My brother, nah. He asked him again. My brother still, nah. And then somewhere in some video, there might not even have been a video that made the channel. It had gotten to a point where it was like, okay, we just need one person consistently to help outside of this collective. Agent just straight up asked me, sure. I don't even know what's going on. I don't. He sent like a simple text message or something like that, or we just had a quick 15-minute phone call. Yeah, just get the cameras, charge them, be at my house, and we'll record a video. First video might have even been in the A&P house, and we just sat in there, recorded the video, cameras. Me still not really knowing what's going on, for real. But that's how it started. They had a super need for production. Agent finally hit me and was like, "Yo, do this. Bring the cameras, charge the batteries, whatever the case may be," and that's how it started.
Okay, so I mean, clearly you said that the A&P situation was a very big turning point for you to seeing the vision of what content creation could be. I remember the first time I went down to Atlanta to for a playback trip and how eye-opening that whole experience was. So for you working with AMP, what were some of the things that like really like I guess shocked you in terms of what content creation could be, um, how the best of the best do it, like stuff like that that you didn't know prior.
I can't even say, because at that point I still didn't necessarily like know about the money. I know probably by the time the next 2K came out, whenever I started the next 2K is when I started hearing like, oh, 67, 70,000. Well, probably at that time more, but 70,000, $80,000 a month, off of just the game dropping and us just dropping our videos on the game. Me.
Hold on.
Hey, oh, wait. Oh, you must not know what you done started. Wait a minute. But I think once I got into it, I like to be prepared. I'm a decently prepared person. So I'm gonna start doing some research. And so I started just YouTubing, Googling, figuring things out, figuring what doorways were open, just opening my eyes just a little bit more. Sometimes at that point in time, I was still school oriented. So it was like my thing was getting back into school so I could get my degree. And this was just so I can get some extra money on the side. And then once I got my degree, I was going to get into my job. But sometimes you just open your eyes just a little bit more. I try to tell people, don't be so narrow-minded. I don't think there was one specific moment that made me just open my eyes a little bit more, but it was just everything was happening so fast. The lights were just so bright. You had to kind of open your eyes and take it all in, low key.
That's interesting, because I just remember, at least for me, when I went to Atlanta, just the level of work ethic that it took for people who were doing this full time was very eye opening to me. I think it opened my eyes to what I needed to be at to make this a full time thing, and what my lifestyle would look like if I were to go into this full time. Because I know you know this. This was at a point where I was still in college and I was still trying to figure out like what path I wanted to go to. So that trip was very like a monumental point to me in terms of like, oh, this shit is possible. Like I am around people, like got people's phone numbers that have provided a lifestyle this lavish through the internet, through content creation. So that really motivated me. And one of the things I loved about our first Let's Keep It a Buck Atlanta trip was seeing Sage and Damo experience the same thing. Cause it was like, oh, I'm glad they felt very similar things. But you didn't have a moment like that with AMP?
But see, yours was House 2. House 1 was very much, and mind you, I shouldn't even say House 1. House 0 was when I first got into the fold. House 0 was the house that my brother and agent stayed in. And I knew my brother, quote unquote, worked all the time. But from back then, this is before they had an official AMP house. You came in on the official AMP house. That was your first trip, if I'm not mistaken. Back then, the appearance was I'm sleeping till half of the day. I'm getting up. I'm recording my 2K video. I'm recording my NBA video. I might have maybe one other channel. And then I am sleeping for the rest of the day, just watching YouTube for the rest of the day. These were people who didn't get up like that. AMP would come into town once a month. We would spend like a Saturday and a Sunday recording a couple of videos or whatever the case may be. And that was kind of like, okay, this is like what work ethic looked like. But even then, it was still very relaxed. We would take 8 hours to get a 30-minute video that was wrestling in the park. You know what I'm saying? Like it would take a long time for that. And then other than that, it was still very relaxed. House 1 is probably where things turned up a notch. And that's where you came in. So I can acknowledge that. House 1 was like everybody, kind of got to get out of 2K, 2 channels, 3 channels, vlog channels, streaming. I got ad deals. That's when their celebrity, I think, took off more. And that's when shit probably hit the fan as far as like expanding.
Okay. No, that's definitely fair. That's definitely fair. Do you have any funny, memorable stories from your time during AMP? that you want to share that you haven't shared before, ideally?
That I haven't shared before, ideally.
Yeah, it could be, because I think AMP now is very different from what AMP back then was, at least just from the outside looking in. So maybe if there's even a story that kind of encapsulate what the group was back then compared to now, type shit. I don't know.
I think that so back then, like I said, it was very run and gun, fly by the seat of the pants. People didn't know what was coming just yet. So there was one time where I think we were filming the Squid Games video. It was the end of the Squid Games video. There was a specific scene where we drove in like a van, and like Duke hopped out, got thrown out as if he just won Squid Games, and then he's got the money. But so we drove up to a gas station, and it was like all of AMP, all the cameramen, AIM, me, and we're at a gas station. It's like 3 a.m, and we're just kicking it. We probably spend a good 30 or 40 minutes getting snacks, chilling in the parking lot. Some people came from a party. We're, talking to them or whatever the case may be. Had the music bumping. Very, very chill vibe. And then the mayor of Atlanta's son came to the gas station. Sounds crazy. Came to the gas station and was like, yo, you AMP. And I think he was pointing at Kai. He was either pointing at Kai or Duke and was like, you AMP. Let me take a picture real quick. Took the photo, wrapped up. It was like, yo, we got a party going on. Da 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 da. Hit my line. Da 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 da. Drove off. But I think in that story, it was just a very like, chill moment that really encapsulated that these are just guys coming together from different backgrounds. Teenagers that are still, just having fun making content or whatever the case may be. And I would still say, even though the Squid Games video was big, even though videos put out before that were big or whatever the case may be, that kind of encapsulated the calm before the storm. Like, you didn't know who Kai was. He was just AMP, but now he's who he is now, his own face, his own brand. The AMP brand is bigger. All of them are recognizable by face and name. Super Bowl ads, but just T-Mobile ads, big ads like this, Jordan brand partners, all this, that, and the third. And all of it started with, 6 guys, a cameraman, and like a little vision or whatever.
That's dope. That's dope. I do want to ask you, whatchamacallit? Damn, it just slipped my mind. I feel like we've had conversations on the pod as well of like the difference between content creators on camera and off camera. Some people just turn into a different person on camera, and then off camera, completely different person. From your experience with AMP, could you speak to, do they have that type of dynamic where when they're on stream, because I do believe they do a lot of crazy shit on stream. They turn it up, you know what I'm saying? They're in performance mode, and then off camera, they're completely different people. Or is it a, similar vibe on and off camera? Like there's not much of a difference. Maybe a little bit, but not much.
It's a similar vibe. AJ might be the only one who has like a little bit more of a play up character, like more and more of a play up character. I think everybody, like you said, kicks it up a notch. AJ might take it up 2 notches, maybe 3. But everybody's vibe is the same. If you, whatever you think Duke Dennis is, chill, older, more mature guy in the group, that's him in real life. How Kai is, that's him in real life. How Phantom is on stream, chill but can kind of like go crazy in a minute, that's him in real life. Chris is still that shy, reserved guy who wants to come out of his shell, that's him in real life. All of these guys, how they depict themselves are them in real life. They just know how to like turn it up just a bit for whatever bit is going on right then and there.
Now, do you believe that's the case for other content creators and content groups? Or is that specific to AMP?
Hell no. And I think that that's why they succeed more than a lot of other groups. I think that there are some that do that. Like I do believe that Max and Jason and these guys are who they are in their real life. I did not and still do not believe that about FaZe. Not FaZe, I'm sorry, Too Hype. Too Hype for sure. I think that some of them were definitely trying to put on a character, and it was kind of shown. Um, I heard a lot of them was just coked out in real life, for real. So I ain't gonna lie. I heard a lot of them was coked out. So
Damn. I think a part of that is honestly streaming, like them and FaZe as well taking up streaming, especially to the scale that they do. Is because as much as you want to put on the act during a stream, when you're streaming 7, 8, 24 a month, there comes a point where you just can't hide your actual personality.
facts.
You know what I'm saying? So with FaZe, with AMP, with all these streaming groups, I think those, and that's what they lean into. That's one of the core things that streaming in general leans into is authenticity. But right, like, you know, I just can't see it. You know, I'm on some innocent till proven guilty type timing, but I feel like it's harder to maintain actual, or it's easier to come off with like a fake personality with like a group like the Sidemen or the Too Hype or Too Hype, excuse me, or these other content groups where everything is offline recorded. You can truly play it up. You know when things are being recorded and not. You can, you know, add things in the edit. And you know, you truly control your narrative as opposed to streaming. If you slip up, you slip up, bro. Like you just gotta live with that. You just gotta live with it.
The dudes in the other groups are older. Like, man, Kenny and Zach TTG weren't, you know, that's not their real life. They 35. No funny, but like they 35. They're not acting like that in real life. I just believe that.
That's fair. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit here to the end of your AMP tenure. For those who don't know, Omar does not currently work for AMP anymore. If anything, it's been a running joke that he got fired by AMP with his lame ass, allegedly.
Look, if he's so
that's what they be saying.
The street say that's what they say.
Don't kill the messenger. So I guess just speak on to, you know, how the events happened to your comfort level, how the events happened, what led up to it, and did you get fired or did you quit?
Oh gosh. So like I said, I think over the course of time, I got better. The expectations also rose. I got better. The expectations rose, and the wiggle room and you know, margin of error also shrank because the channel was getting much more serious, more traction, all that other stuff. So we needed more help, got more help, but I felt like things weren't addressed fast enough. One, and two, my eyes got more open. My eyes kept getting open. You know, like I said, agent told me you should probably try to study more, become better as like a storyteller, filmmaker, you know, learn the business more, et cetera, in order to be better at what you do. And I did that. Now, with that being said, I got a sniff and a whiff about money. And not necessarily the money that they made, but the work that I was putting in and what that would pay somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of the money thing was a thing, but also the help thing was like a real big thing for me as well. Like the help just wasn't there. So it got to a point.
Wait, what do you mean by help?
Like we were still being run as a smaller operation with like me, cameraman Chris, Waleed. I eventually brought in like a couple of guys. Like I had brought in Tings, I had brought in Abdul. I brought in a couple guys to be assistants, but there needed to be a concerted effort in like, yo, we need like dedicated audio people. We need dedicated, like more dedicated cameramen, more dedicated on stage hands. ZT and Caleb started to come into the fold, but they still had responsibilities. But it just the level of help wasn't there. Now, from my understanding now, what they walk onto now is what was envisioned back then, which are like full-on sets. But you know, that's what we needed back then. Not long story less long. So I would I just felt like I needed more help, and I also saw the money. So with that being said, I got upset. I got fed up. I got fed up with the lack of both, and I walked. I walked out.
So you were not fired. Put that on record. You were
Not,
not fired. You walked away.
I was not fired. I walked away under my own merit. Yeah, I just walked away straight up.
And let me ask you this: I feel like I already know the answer. Do you regret it, knowing what AMP became afterwards?
Yes and no. It's okay to have regrets in life.
Mhm.
I would have walked away eventually. 100,000% would have walked away eventually. We're also coming to the point of like, even though I could have probably held on for like a little while, maybe made it work, I was also coming to the crossroads of like dropping school for YouTube, and I wasn't doing my own thing. The podcast wasn't where it was, so that was also a big question mark in the air. I regret leaving at the time that I did. I probably should have waited 6 months later and then still left.
What makes you say that?
When you leave something, you got to have like really good, you have to have a good exit plan. A good exit plan. And I can acknowledge that my exit plan wasn't the best. What I should have did was try to cultivate more relationships, network a little bit better with other people, so that when I come to these side projects, I could utilize them essentially better. Like we could have had more guests early on the podcast if I would have done a better job of building relationships throughout that time.
Okay, that's definitely fair. How far after was the Mr. B stuff? Can you speak on that?
Yeah, I can definitely speak on that. The Mr. B stuff was, everything happened like 3 months later, gang. Like 2 to 3 months later. And I'm talking about in a 2 to 3 month time span. Like, so what had happened was left AMP, still had the podcast, still was dibbling and dabbling in my own channel, still didn't have like a real full on direction. And then I started to look for other employment using the skills that I had, and Mr. Beast had just had an opening up for like a producer or whatever. And so I was like, yo, I'm gonna have to take this. Like, I'm gonna have to apply for this and take this. And because we had connections, like I definitely got an interview and was definitely getting along in the process. And it was definitely a real reality that like, okay, this you could actually get a job with Mr. Beast.
And did that just fall through? Because I truly don't even remember. Like, did it just fall through? Did you just reject it? Like, what happened with that?
So what I truly believe, because I did not hear anything, the only thing that I heard or we heard was that he like low-key changed directions on his philosophies and mentalities. Mr. Beast was going around at that time and he was saying like, yo, building out your team is like the most important thing. That's the way I can do what I'm doing. And that was also my push back then as well with AMP. But I think everybody was adopting the mentality of like, yo, you should build up a team. So he was like, yo, build up a team. I've already got because they were like, how do you produce these big videos on a weekly basis on YouTube? He was like, I have 2 teams. One works on the video for this week, one works on the video for next week. I'm trying to build it up to 3. And then he bought a studio and became like the second largest studio owner in the Southeast or some outrageous thing like that. And so we came to the conclusion that like, oh, that's probably what he spent his money on. And now he can't like further a team. So it fell through.
Damn, that's tough. But would you have taken it though? Because I think there were also conversations of like relocating, you being off the pod permanently. Because for those who don't know, Mr. Beast, maybe it changed at that time. I don't think it has though. He has this clause where like, if you work for Mr. Beast, that's the only thing you can do. You can't start your own channel. You can't even like post about it on Twitter. None of that. When you work for Mr. Beast, everything stays in house. Your main focus is Mr. Beast, the brand. And if we let you go, if we part ways, then you can start talking about your experience. But during that time, you can't do nothing else. Would you have taken the job?
Yeah, I feel like you say you have to, like you get that opportunity and you have to. I just don't know where I would be if I did do it. And I think that's scary. I think sometimes you can think back. I'm pretty sure you do. What if I would have stayed with X, Y, and Z or try to push harder for doing Elemental P or moved for ABC? Because we talked about you moving for playback or whatever the case may be, and where that would have left you. Because especially because of all the dominoes that would have fallen. I think that's the thing. Like, I think if I would have stayed, and I know this isn't the direct question, but if I would have stayed with AMP, I don't know if I would still be on a podcast. I don't know what our relationship would be. I don't know what my relationship with the guys would be. Probably non-existent even, because I feel like there'd be a time where I would just be like so much of a partial member. It would be like, this is a wash.
Yeah, because we were talking about you just being like a Discord dude at that time, chat. Like he would still be involved in the community, but he would never be on camera type thing.
And I'm talking about me being with AMP. With Mr. Beast, I definitely would have been like 100% back behind the scenes. Would I have even started my own channel, my own journey? Maybe that's something that I come out of the experience with, because I remember having those conversations specifically about Mr. Beast. It was like, yo, I'm going in, I'm gonna get what I need to get, that cachet and that name, and then I'm gonna come out and do my own thing. But is that even really true? There's so many question marks in that. I probably would have said no, because then there's even the question of like, would I be engaged to my fiance right now? Talk about it. Would me being in North Carolina for like 3 years straight?
At that time, were y'all having conversations about engagement and long-term plans already? No.
And I think that right there kind of solidifies what I'm saying. We weren't even there yet. So what reason would we have to continue to work that way if we're not going to be close to each other? I might have tried to pitch it. I hate long distance relationships. I
did that shit for years.
You wouldn't go back.
Yeah. Would not. I'm be honest. Looking back, I do not know how we did it. For real. I don't know how we did it. But nah, that's definitely interesting because, despite all the pushback that I got for not going to Atlanta, like that was a big part of it, bro. The domino effect. That was probably the first time I was truly tested. How much do you value money for real? You know what I'm saying? How much do you really value money? Is it worth giving up when? I'm gonna be honest. When you looked at my life in a vacuum during that time, truly everything was flowing.
Yeah,
everything was flowing. Money was good. Life was good. Experiences were good. Had a great relationship. But there was this opportunity to do more. So I was personally faced with this crossroads of like, okay, you can take this to the next level, but there's gonna be some sacrifices.
I think if I was more like inspired as a creator or to be a creative or, got into content creation earlier, I think the answer would be like a no-brainer. Yeah, I would have taken the Mr. Beast job. Hell, I would have stayed with AMP and thugged it out as well. But because my life wasn't revolved around content, I think that might have been even a reason why Agent was like so willing to give the job to me or present it to me, is because I wasn't like enamored or floored. That was one of the problems that we had with recruiting people, is that they would come to the house and be, yo, you Duke Dennis, you Davis, you. And so because I wasn't like that, I think that also made me make the decisions that I did. I could only imagine if I was like that kid that, you Duke, I would have just turned the cheek to so many things. I would have changed my life upside down for so many things. And, it may have worked out. It also may have been the worst thing in the world, but I'm okay with the outcome that we're like, I'm happy with the outcome. I love the outcome.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear, man. So I do feel like me and you and a couple of our friends specifically were a part of one of the first gold rushes of back-end work when it comes to content creation through AMP, through Playback. through Mr. Beast and stuff like that. Clearly, we have seen the good side of it and the bad side of it. For those who, because I feel like now it's definitely more normal to hire editors and thumbnail designers and all these things. For those who are trying to get into the back end side of content creation, what are some of the biggest advice you have to give to those people? Because I think for me, one of the biggest things is just such an unregulated industry. Like content creation as a whole is an unregulated industry. The back end of it, honestly, more unregulated than the front end of it. So to that you say what?
Don't do it. I think I think one of our like biggest quote unquote mistakes. Mistake is a strong word, but I'm using it. One of our biggest mistakes is that our eyes got open. Specifically to like how much editors can make, how much except this happens, that happens. What you can be asking for in this industry from like a true industry standard.
Mm-hmm.
My advice to those people is that it's just not, it's not here yet. It's not in YouTube yet. Sure, we can name a bunch of one-offs, but like even right now, as I come up as a solo act in a different space, like the DMs that I get from people, my answer to, they're like, oh, yo, how are you pumping out videos? How are you coming up with ideas? How are you writing scripts? How are you doing these things? My answer is so simple. Like, I just hire somebody. They're not even thinking about that. And why that's important is they're not thinking about it means that they're damn sure not thinking about proper pay or willingness to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand, one, everybody can't be on camera. And you probably do want to get on some back end stuff, but I would honestly stay away from this life and try to get into some other sorts of fields, try to go more corporate. I know that's probably not what you wanted to hear, but
that's fine.
I'm being dead ass. Like I would not tell somebody to try to be somebody's video editor right now. Yeah. Like the amount that somebody can pay, even with a channel my size, the podcast size, I'm trying to think of what size channel I would have to be in order to pay my editor a real living wage. Mm-hmm. And that would have to be like a tremendous, that would have to be huge. I would tell people not to do it.
I actually agree. I've maintained this take for a minute now of like, I think working for content creators is a good job if you need money, especially in this economy. If you need bread, go ahead and edit that one video out. But I think what people make a mistake on is thinking that this is a career path for them that's gonna, take them all the way to retirement and all of that. There's already questions about that for the content creator profiting off of your work. Like, the Kais, the Speeds, maybe they're different. But there's already a lifespan conversation for content creators. The back end conversation is much worse. There are no contracts being involved in a lot of this. A lot of this is contractor work. There are no benefits involved, especially if you're a family man. There's no benefits for you. It is all 1099 money. You can get fired whenever if they just like what you said. Even with applying, if their visions changes tomorrow, there's no severance pack. Like a severance. I'm gonna be honest. When I heard about a severance package in corporate world, it shocked me. I'm like, bro, this is crazy. But yeah, it's a job. I think that's ultimately what it is. Kind of similar to working at McDonald's or like it's a job. To me, it's not a career path. For some, you gotta make ends meet, so you gotta do it. But I would never consider it a career path, bro. For real.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like a side thing to make a couple $100 more. Like if you have the ability to edit, pump out videos, like I got Ankle on my team now, an editor on my team, and he's able to pump out one of my videos in like 2 hours, maybe from like it's uploaded to him re-uploading the finished version, all the edits. He might be able to bang it out in 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Yo, if that nets you X amount of extra dollars, and I'm just doing that, every other day or so like that. Oh, for sure. Yeah, get into it. Thumbnail, do this for a quick $40-$50, because I'm about to, I don't know, get a large meal or something, like take my girl out. That's perfectly fine. But other than that, yeah, no. One of the biggest deterrents for me is like the ability to get a new job, and that's something I found out when I worked with AMP.
Mhm.
And I'll say this: that was, it depends on how you look at it, but that was one of the misguidings of my thinking. Is that like, yo, you are doing this, yo, this is worth this much in this industry. How many people are
Yeah.
willing to pay you this much for this specific skill for what you do? I was an on-site producer slash director slash writer of content for a group channel. Most of the people in my range weren't even doing IRL content at the time, let alone group channel stuff, let alone putting that much money into a video in and of itself. I don't think this is spilling the beans. I mean, there was a time we put like 15 bands into one singular video. Most YouTubers at that time, their version of IRL content was like going to Dave and Buster's and doing a Pop a Shot challenge. For real, for real. So with that being said, if they're not going to put that much into the video, they're damn sure not going to put that much into the person producing the video. There might have been 2 or 3 IRL groups in my vicinity, but even the IRL groups, Too Hype was doing like backyard 3-point shootout challenges. And I would have to move cross country for it. The ability to get a new job is so hard too. Like that's probably like one of the biggest deterrents for me for people to like do this shit full time.
Because I think even on top of that, I think it's one conversation about how many people would even use your skill set if you get fired. I think there's another conversation of just how many people are hiring. Because I think there are creators that could use your skill set, but if they got their guys, they're not hiring. Like, this is not a job where, let's say you got, I'm gonna just stick to software engineering because that's my field. Used to be my field. If you get fired by Apple, there's 50 other companies looking for a software engineer that you can get a job, maybe not relatively quickly in this economy, but you got options. If you get fired by AMP getting paid $90,000 a year or whatever it is to produce content IRL, how many other content creators, how many other social media companies have the cachet to pay you $90,000? Because I understand, lifestyle creep is a bad thing, for many people, but it's also a natural thing. If I'm making $90,000 a year, I'm gonna live like I'm making $90,000 a year to some degree. But when that gets taken away, how do you replace that? And that's one of the things about back end work that just turns me off as well. I actually think you can make a career from it, but it's not through continuing back end work. I think it's actually using the network that you got to create something of your own, kind of like what we've done, what you've done, and also making like a back end service, which we know of a person doing that right now. Making a back-end service so that you can scale it up to something bigger than just you working for content creators.
Plus last thing, it's also not respected by the industry. It's still not respected by the industry. I was talking about with Sky the other day because she's going to school for more traditional art stuff, more traditional graphic design, UI, UX, stuff like that. This social media stuff doesn't matter. It's amazing to me how I see so many young kids get into editing and they got the most fire edits. I can't remember buddy off TikTok's name that does like fire NBA edits, but super fire NBA edits and stuff like that. But look at every team's page. Look at the Lakers, the Celtics, the Hornets, the Heat. Look at their pages. That's not what they're using. Rico is like a fire graphic designer, and he has been picked up by
the Bleacher Reports,
Bleacher Reports and stuff, and they've been using them. But go on the Hawks Instagram page; they are using basic Photoshop work. These are basic edits. Their thing is about getting it out quick. That color grading that they have for sports on, this is how you color grade sport. They are not using that shit. Like your skills won't even be respected.
I think because working for Playback, we got like a senior graphic designer. Like I'm talking like when I think of graphic designer, it's synonymous with a thumbnail maker. Prior to getting the job, completely different now. I ain't gonna lie. Don't I would legitimately think he would consider it disrespectful to call him a thumbnail designer because what he does is so much more than just making thumbnails. It's actually insane. So just even in the realm of being a graphic designer, there is so much more than just Photoshop out there. And I think that's where like professional training comes into mind, because he can work with so many different formats, work with so many different styles, come up with scalable formats and all these different things that we had a recent project where he was asking me like, yo, do you have any recommendations to sub in for me for this thing that we're working on? I legitimately told him no. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know anyone that can do the things that you do to the degree of detail that you got it going on. But let alone editing. I think I've gotten a grasp of like even how editors in Hollywood get paid versus YouTube editors. Completely different. So it's tough out here, man. It's tough out here. Let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit to Let's Keep It a Buck. The pod. Let's Keep It a Buck podcast. Just kind of, I guess, go through the story of, like, from your perspective of how I reached out to you. What were your perspective when I did reach out to you? The 10-day contract and all of that.
I know Too Hype was going through a situation. Too Hype was going through a phase at the time. I think this might have been the Mopey situation. Or
It was.
Yeah, the Mopey situation. And you reached out to me thinking that, my perspective on group content would have been great to have in that conversation. That's how I knew you was a real creator for real. Me. Yeah, I see him connecting the dots. He doing the math and the science. Okay. But so, I said yes. I went in, I told my brother, I said, yo, B-Souls reached out to me. Hate this guy's basketball takes, but I'm gonna go on there because this is what he wants to talk about. And had the conversation. It was a great conversation. I wonder if I don't think our first conversation is on the channel, but it was a great conversation. Before I left, I told you guys about Locker Room and what they were doing and what they were building.
Mm-hmm.
And then didn't hear from you. And I think I was maybe out of town, thugging with my rounds or something like that, when I got the message back saying, yo, we got a little spot on the podcast, as a little test run for like a co-host or something like that. Do you want to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit. Because mind you, this was my first interview too. And this is also helping me come into the realization that there's like something legitimate to AMP and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do it. This is my first thing. This is my first interview. You guys seem serious. I'm coming in. Now, I didn't know what I was getting into when I first started, but that's basically how we started. It was just to ask, and I was open to anything at that point. I was already saying yes in my life, so I'm with whatever.
That seems pretty accurate. I'm not gonna lie. I think off rip we just started yapping, because I remember the very first pod you and Sage were on. That was where the Meg Thee Stallion clip came from, the very first pod. And that wasn't no forced basketball shit. I'm glad we kind of turned back around to being more like that. We just go on the pod and yap, for real. I'm also glad the word yap is a good descriptor of the things that we do now. But yeah, because that word wasn't there a couple years ago. But yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. So I guess for me, when was the turning point for you really taking the pod as serious as you take it now, as we take it now?
First, when y'all started asking for money, whoa, we need to take this just a little bit more. I don't know if you remember this. When I first got on, y'all told me that the plan to pay stuff was like, the pod might at that point in time might have been generating like $400 a month, $200 a month, or some shit like that. Bro, it wasn't that much money. The cost for all the like back end stuff was like half of that, or it was a portion of that. It was something. And the plan was, okay, what we do is we rotate months paying for the services and then y'all did something with the money, or I don't know what y'all did with the money. It was but it just didn't make any sense. And I was like, because I was, I had opinions. I'm always gonna have opinions. I had opinions from day one of like what you could do, should do, whatever. And I was like, all right, what if, just hear me out. And I was still very early on. I was like, just hear me out. The money that we earn monthly, let's just use that to pay for this. And I remember people were like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Chat, I know for a fact we earned more than what the expenses were. So I was like, why the fuck? What? But so from that point, I took it pretty serious. Like, oh, okay, we got something going on here. And then I knew things kicked up probably at like the first $1,000 earned or something like that. It wasn't a big amount of money, but it was like a decent amount of money to be like, oh, okay, this is growth. Because shit grew kind of fast. Like low key, stuff grew kind of fast with us. I ain't gonna lie. Even where we are today is like I know. Yeah. Low key, even you kept. I remember you kept saying that. You was like, hey, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Respective to like the channel size that we are earning way more money than we should.
Yeah.
Like way more money. I don't even remember how we was doing it though. I ain't gonna lie to
you. Now that's funny because when I had Damo on recently, we were talking about how like you just off of like the business side was such a necessary addition to the pod. Cause mind you, at the end of the day, we're kids, okay? We're kids just making content. For a lot of us, this is like our first entrepreneurial endeavor, business type thing. We don't really know how to run a business for real. So just off of that alone, you were necessary. I was telling Damo, like, even just bringing you and Sage on, and it worked out. It worked out. But in hindsight, it mad stupid. Just off the strength of y'all were on the pod once, gave y'all instantly a 10-day, and just ran with it. Like it I'm telling you right now, chat, and me even finding Damo, we got through the experiences. It's just something that I do. I just commit a little bit too soon to things. But yeah.
Issues. I'm gonna tell you that you can't nobody ever say yo B-Soul's got commitment issues. He doesn't.
Hell
if
no.
anything,
I overcommit.
Yeah, overcommit.
Can't back out. That's the problem.
And I remember like a couple years in. Let me ask you this, like for real. What would you think you have done differently now knowing what you know?
I think for one, vetted out. I wouldn't have started the pod with Justin Tim. I'm gonna be honest. In hindsight, just off the strength of because I told Damo this. The idea was, the conversations in real life are so funny. It gotta translate on camera. It did not. Okay, motherfuckers again. Inside jokes. We all come from the same small town. Now you trying to bring the small town inside jokes to a public platform. Fuck are you doing? And then again, bringing you and Sage on, just way too quick. I'm gonna be honest. Y'all were a guest on once. We had a couple conversations in the locker room. Go straight to a 10-day, and then just let it fly.
You think you would have tried other people out, or you think you would have like did a different money split or something like that? What do you think you would have did?
I think the money split conversation is another thing. Yeah. We should have never took as much money individually as we did. We could have spent that on guests. We could have had more trips.
No, not that. I'm saying when we first came on, y'all were like, "Yo, yeah, and we'll just divide ownership evenly."
The ownership conversation?
Yeah, would y'all have been like, you know what? Let's let them split like 10% ownership between the two.
I still wouldn't know what number, but definitely offer it 25% split evenly is kind of crazy. I just didn't know what other options were there. I mean, we're growing this group. We're all equally gonna be a part of it. So let's equally have ownership. Like that was my thinking process. But yeah.
Would you have tried other people too? Like, oh, we're gonna see if so and so works or so and so works.
I think for us actually, we had a list of people we wanted to potentially bring on as a permanent co-host. You and Sage were the top two. I personally was trying to figure out which one of y'all was gonna take that third spot, so we would rock the three. And then Damo was like, why not both? So why not both? I mean, you're right. Why not both? And then the rest was history. The rest was history.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I can see it.
Yeah. But what was there a point where you thought did you ever think the pod would become as big as it's become? I understand we still got a lot to grow, but the heights of 1,400, 1,500 live, having the people come out the way that we did at DreamCon, was there ever a point where you were like, okay, this is getting real?
No, I don't. Well, let me say there was a point of it getting real. You know, I know it sounds bad, but I'm always tying stuff back to like the dollars. But there were some months that were like crazy, and the views too, the views and the dollars, and shit, the subs too, views, dollars, and subs. So just the overall channel growth when we like go.
We was getting 40,000 subs a month. I was on cloud nine, bro.
Like those are like outrageous numbers, and there was a couple things that we were like ahead of the curve on, like we were just ahead of the game on, that also really validated, like, you know,
we're geniuses.
Low key, not even like low, high key. Like I don't think people really realize that, like, you know,
everyone was pussy with shorts. I'm gonna say it. Everyone was pussy. I don't want shorts in my video feed because it looks ass. Man, put that shit out there, man.
And yeah, that's when shorts was a little bit different too. YouTube was really bumping them. There was the program for it, like, dog. And now shorts seems like short form content. People were so against short form content. People were so against, and still are against, like YouTube streaming, which I mean, I still even feel validated to this day to see like how Gil and them kind of utilize YouTube streaming to kind of help with some of the YouTube video numbers and stuff like that. And I still don't think people are like truly tapping into what it can do and can be, but
they don't. Because real quick, when we have these streaming conversations, it's always about Kai, Speed, and them. Never talk about Candace Owens. Never talk about Nightcap. Never talk about Gil's Arena in these conversations.
And they should post similar numbers. They should be talked about crazy style.
Yeah.
Like they should genuinely be talked about crazy style. So like seeing stuff like you know, Katie gets eliminated from the finals or from the playoffs with the Brooklyn Nets, and that stream going crazy off the strength of like it's very, very topical. It's news. It's you know, we're hitting it right then and there. Live reactions on Twitter and being validated in that point, being validated on like Twitter Spaces at that point. Those are the things to me that was like, whoa, this is serious. We should take this serious. We can really earn and do some magical things if we just get like super serious about this.
Yeah. Shit was crazy, bro. Shit was crazy. The numbers I was seeing was, I never thought I'd ever get there, bro. 40,000 subs in a month, chat is crazy. 40,000 looked unreal. And then the next month, the down month being 30,000.
Yeah, that's talk about that. That's the real one right there. Like the down month being 30K and still pulling 2-3 million views, and it was like, oh my god, what are we doing? What are we doing that everybody else? I low-key felt like we knew something that people just didn't know. Like, oh my god, how do we know this? Why aren't people doing this? I remember specifically going into like spaces or just different conversations and just like trying to preach the gospel of like, yo, you need to be doing this. Like, this is it. This is it. Do this. Do this. I promise you
To
it's
be
gonna work.
honest, who was really clipping up live streams for short form back then? Like I know it's a big deal now, clipping culture. Was anyone really doing it back then?
Maybe Aiden. Maybe Aiden.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
Aiden.
Yeah, because I remember seeing a couple of his shit back then. Did we start clipping culture? This is crazy.
Hey, sometimes we gotta be on our own dick. But because when it comes from me, I think that people think that it's like arrogance. But like you were there, and so like some of these things were just new, refreshing ideas, and just so much against the grain. And we were just like, fuck it, we're trying. And that was the other thing too. We were trying stuff. We weren't conforming to what other people were doing. Low key, we were zagging, and the zag worked. And the zag does not work. Like zags do not usually work. The stakes were so low, and the rewards were so high. It was like, oh my gosh, we can't fuck up. We can't.
Yeah, low key, that was what made 2024 the way that it was. The zags are working so much. When they stopped working, they gotta work. They gotta work. And then they didn't work. So we had to zig back.
That's okay though. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these numbers. We was going crazy in 22 and 23.
Stupid. And I find it also just weird, just in general. It feels like content creators are at their peak when they're trying, and at their worst when they're trying. Let me say that again. I feel like a lot of content creators peak when they're not trying, and then fall when they try too hard. I feel like personally for my channels, I've experienced the same things. I think for the pod, we have experienced similar things. Do you think that's true, or is it just that's too anecdotal?
I think it's a little anecdotal. I think people overanalyze and get burnt out and make that one mistake. I think in life, that one mistake can change the trajectory of everything. And so I know I'm going to say like this multiple times, but there's times in the podcast where we've been faced with a decision and we've dropped the ball. Now, we've also like picked the ball up and made the right decisions a lot. And again, relatively speaking, we are having first world problems. Trust me, where we are and what we earn view wise and, subscriber wise and monetarily speaking, from my understanding, is something that like, first of all, a lot of channels don't even reach, but we've been doing this for about 4 or 5 years now. We should be just getting into these strides. I promise you, we are suffering from success because we think that a channel is supposed to pop in a year, pop in 2 years. From my understanding, that's not normal. Yeah. So I think that even when we do fumble or try too hard or whatever the case may be, in the reality and totality of things, we're still okay because we're still good enough to, rectify whatever decision that we fumble on.
That's definitely fair. All right, let's fast forward a little bit to your personal channel, the Omeezy channel. So just take us through when you really, because first of all, take us through the origins of it, the type of videos you were making before it became a commentary channel, and then when you decided you wanted to make it a commentary channel, and really take it seriously.
So like I said, when I first started the channel, it was because Agent said, yo, if you want to get better at creating content, as a producer, as a, on the back end, you need to just practice. You need to practice. You need to try different things, learn different styles. So I went on a study rant, like studying all these different people, catching up. This is how I got caught up in, the Mr. Beast, the Ryan Trahans, the Arax, the Emma Chamberlains, the Casey Neistat. Like I just got caught up. And then in my attempt, okay, I can watch. I need to recreate as well. So at first, it definitely started off with me getting my opinions off still, because just naturally, I'm going to get my opinions off. But then, I started doing some vlogging to try to get that down, pacing and camera stuff. I did some IRL videos, some challenge videos, stuff like that. And then I just naturally, like, I even recreated things I can't live without when I had like 10,000 subs. And mind you, the 10,000 subs were off the strength of, oh, Omar has a channel, let me follow. Yeah. Right? I created a 10. Who gives a damn about the 10 things that Omar can't live without at that point in time.
Yeah.
But the main thing is, and as I'm looking at it on the side, I was just focusing on trying to get like lighting concepts and B-roll shots and trying to, build out a full YouTube video so then I could take it back to AMP. But so then I just kept getting back to like my story times and my talking head videos and all that stuff like that. And fast forwarding to where we kind of are today, timing is everything. It's funny because right before the end of 23, I think it was, I had contacted Cardiac. I told Cardiac, yo, I'm gonna live stream because everybody's live streaming, and I'm gonna try to take the clips from the live stream, we're gonna do some light editing, but it's gonna be my commentary. And playback was like coming to a complete end. Yep. Right. And so then Caleb had came across and we was like, yo, we could just take this thing serious. Why not just take it seriously? Like, why not just push forward and take it seriously? And I was like, you know what? We was going to do it anyway. Fuck it. Why not just, bring it all together and make the commentary channel?
You know what's crazy? I'm looking at your channel now. You've been making these videos for way longer than I remember. Like, I'm looking at it right now, and I remember when these came out. The Disney Black Little Mermaid has people triggered, and you had that crazy thumbnail. That was 2 years ago. That's honestly crazy. So you were live streaming during that time, right? And then clipping them up?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. No, that's actually crazy. I think even with because you grew like crazy late 2024. I think even then people kind of have this feeling that you became like an overnight sensation. And that's just with a lot of like content creators. None of this shit is truly overnight, bro. Like these were things that you consistently workshopped, tweaked, just got better at every single day until one day it just hit for you. And now you have a better understanding of what you want to do on the channel. I guess my next question naturally is, what was there a turning point for you where, shit's getting serious now? Like, I know the numbers that you pull now, it became a 2, 3, 5K type thing to now we're pulling 5 digits regularly.
So like what you're saying, like I'm looking at a video, even if you go back to my oldest videos, my Omar Exposes Women, which is a video I made in 2020. That's a commentary video. My Beef with Agent was a commentary video. That's another video I made in 2020. Now that conversation is about like him telling me not to go to college and stuff like that. Those are all commentary videos. So right, like the purpose of my channel was fully experimentational. I'm going to tweak, try to make things change, shift, all these different things like that. Just to try to make shit work, see what I can do, can't do, what things I need to fix, et cetera, et cetera. And then I think it was the TI video. The TI video might have been like the first video that it was like, yo, this kind of banged out. Oh, no, I take that back. I'm looking at it now. I did a video on Queen Blackwell. That one hit like 32K. I worked with Dre on the thumbnail, worked on the title. It's a good title, good thumbnail. And that's when I kind of like started to catch my strides. Things didn't really pick up though until that TI video. I was still like experimenting on my channel, wasn't taking it seriously, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, I made a George Lopez video that banged off. But there was a video where TI and Tiny Son King or whatever his name is, he had gotten in trouble. Oh, well, he was trying to be a big tough guy or whatever. That video banged off for like, I want to say 100K plus. I'm trying to find the video, but it went for like 100K plus. Oh, 194K is what it sits at today.
Mm-hmm.
But it started off slow. It started off yellow, and then it just shot to the moon. And that's when I knew I had at least a decent grasp of titles, thumbnails for this kind of space, what was news, what was my audience, and how to kind of put it together and say like, yo, I can kind of make this consistently and, you know, pull this off to where like people are going to continuously watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But I still didn't take it consistently at that point, which was crazy. I knew I had the formula, still wasn't taking it consistent.
Yes. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It seems like the takeoff was really like 11 months ago when 5 digits became more regularly. But I just remember you were on a run of like 100K regularly. I think when that was that the phase shit? I think that's when it started for me. Like your channel was starting to hit a stride. When you got called out by FaZe, I think that was a turning point for me in a
That
good
might
way.
be it. Shouts out to FaZe, man. Oh, no. You know what? It wasn't the FaZe shit.
Oh, you got this horny sister destroys your stream.
That was it.
1.2 mil.
The video. 1.2 mil as it sits today. But even right before that, it was another like 98K. But that one was a story nobody was talking about. Again, it was like a testament to you know how to make thumbnails, you know how to make titles. You know, your team is working, whatever. And then from there, the 5 digits really kind of locked in. Anything under 5 was like a miss for real. But then that's where I was getting like 40 and 50 and above.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could replicate the ones where I could get like a triple digit one once every month or so.
Hey, you killed it, man. Good shit. I'm happy, man. I'm happy because that was one of the goals we had for 2024. That was the main goal that I think we hit as a group is actually a not group goal was for everyone to grow individually. And even Dom, I understand like his personal platform didn't take off or anything, but I think him being on PC as much as he was, like he grew his own personal platform to a degree as well that we don't like we just can't quantify, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy for the guys, man. Finally got some comp. God.
Oh my God. I love.
God. Finally a group of content creators now, man. God. No, this is crazy. I know we had some little conversations about it recently. So do you have a 2 to 3 year plan for your channel as it sits? Like what's the vision for your channel? I know when we had the conversation with Cameron, he was talking about at some point, you know, I'm gonna get into live streaming. Like what's that conversation looking like for you?
And you know what's crazy? I don't even think he's a live streamer.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he's a live streamer. And that's not a diss. I just think that everybody's not a live streamer. So for me specifically, one, I hate the conversation of 2 to 3 year vision only because people get so locked into that box. One of the biggest things that has happened to me on the internet is that I realized, or from being on the internet, is that I realized that opening your eyes more can just open up what you can take in. Like you will see more, you will then be able to do more, and you can be more. I don't have a real 2 to 3 year vision that I'm so hard on. But one thing that I do envision is kind of like a late night show host type thing. So like what they say Kai is, but more production, more setup, more intentional, where it's like Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Conan O'Brien type of situation. Jay Leno. Desk, me, stuff on the screen. I'm reacting to it. It gets cut up. Nightcap with more production. And then I also have the ability to bring in celebrities to talk about their drama in a more timely manner.
Would it be live?
Live.
Okay.
I know it kind of goes counter. I would want the ability to still like, okay, I have my clips that I get off live, and then I also have my intentional sat down commentary. I would also want to do like some more long form commentary, more thought out commentary. more connecting the dots, less video essays. But I don't know if you ever seen those like 25 to 45-minute commentary videos.
Yep.
I like stuff like that. I would want to do something like that, but to still get the daily news out and celebrity drama, I would want to do like a full-on, just run a show, kind of like they do late night television. And last but not least, a podcast or commentary channel with my brother.
But bring back Playback 2.0.
The real one, the one that everybody wants to see.
No, that's fire though. That's fire. Yeah, I like the vision. I definitely think you're headed in the right direction in terms of that. So congratulations to you.
We can get back on that stride that we once were before all the suspensions and stuff like that. I think we'll be in a good place to really take on that as like a serious endeavor late 26.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like making content on timely shit to a degree is like holding you back low key? In terms of like, I feel like you talk about things that are naturally going to be oversaturated because everyone is talking about it. Do you feel like that's an advantage that you're just going to take advantage of, or it's kind of hurting you in the sense of you can't make content that truly makes you unique and like stand out from the crowd type thing?
I think that what I have realized though is that like there's a place for all of it. So like there's a conversation I'm trying to think of. Is a Sinners movie review conversation, right? That's just a straight review of the movie Sinners, how you felt, the cinematography, blah 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 blah. Then there's a conversation, a bigger conversation about Black people and horror movies. So the first one, Sinners review, 8 to 10 minutes. Black people in horror movies, now we're touching the 20 minutes. Then there's probably like a bigger conversation titled When the Director is Black. And that could be like a 40-minute, 50-minute video essay deep dive of the differences between like how Black actors are portrayed when Black directors are at the helm, how other races are portrayed when Black directors are at the helm, when da-da. So I say all that to say, and then there's also like all that, and there's a short form version to every single one of those. So I say all that to say, there's a need for all of this content. Can you be the person to feed the need for all of it? Probably so. And I don't think that that's something that's tapped in just yet. I think that Olay kind of does a decent job in tapping into as much as she can, but I don't think that that's something that's like fully tapped into yet. So I don't know if it's holding me back. I just think it's another lane that is not explored just yet.
So because my thing has always been find a thing that separates you and really lean into it. So your thing is, man, fuck all of that. Just if you can, be everything. Be the short form dude. Be the long form dude. Be the one that's gonna make the interview, the 8, 10-minute and the 40-minute video. Would that all be on the same platform though, or would it be a different platform?
Probably no. Probably different platforms. So like, and I think Sinners. Wow, I think Sinners, and I'm ready to talk about it tomorrow. I think Sinners might be like the perfect example of like how I could live out all my content fantasies. So first one is just a smaller, quick video, Black people dying or whatever the case may be in horror movies, Black people horror movies. That can live out on its own channel. Then I could do a whole separate video with my brother about the brotherly dynamic between the two, like Smoke and Stack in Sinners, on a whole separate channel. I think the thing that would make me different is that I have the ability to have different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
I have the ability to look at a singular thing and take it into the multiple different ways and perspectives and stuff like that, and service all those people and give my like super pro Black perspective, but also my close to Gen Z, boomer, or what Destiny call him, hyper zoomer streamer. Mm-hmm. I can also give that perspective. I can give a bunch of different perspectives, and serve all those people, as opposed to, I don't even know how to be like different in the commentary space other than like trying to force out a different perspective. So
That's fair, because I think we're low key we're about to do it with just the pod and these different individual platforms that we have. Like, I think a conversation about Sinners on the pod is going to be completely different than the conversation you have on your solo channel, just from like a time perspective. And even on here, this is why I partially started this platform as well. You have more place and space to really get your shit off. Just let it out into the ether and let the comment section and everyone decide about what you feel like. But I feel like on the pod, it's this thing of like, oh, we going to decide live how we interact with this conversation. And then the conversation in the comments isn't necessarily about the sentiment of this entity. It's about how the conversation went. So...
And on your like individual platforms or these different platforms that I'm talking about, they're not necessarily inherently tied to a timeline, as opposed to on this other channel that you might have, like my main channel or whatever, that's tied to a timeline. We're trying to get this out in 2 days. We're trying to get this out in 3 days. The nightly show that I plan on hosting or whatever the case may be, I'm trying to get the Ryan Coogler interview before the shit comes out, and then I need the reaction on Monday. But the more long form, what happens when the director is black conversation, that can come out at the end of the month. I can take my time and poll different actors, fly out to different places, and have that be like that could be like a once a month video channel. But think about how much effort I'm putting into that once a month video. I'm really interviewing people, really getting different people's perspectives and putting my effort into that. And it's not contingent on like, you got to get this out in 2 days. The algorithm.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right. Last thing I want to do with you, is silly. Okay, I want to preface it by it's silly. You know how we do it on here. We got a real farm. We ain't even TikTok farming anymore. We're real farming. All right. And it's gonna sound crazy. Okay, just work with me. Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right. How many white women can you name in 30 seconds?
Oh my God.
Put that as a high number. Put it as a...
I can name 17 white women in 30 seconds?
30 seconds.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
17. Play it up for the real.
I'm ready. I'm ready to do this. I can name these white women. I know milk.
Okay. All right. Let me get my timer out.
Jesus Christ. She is on my head.
All right. Okay. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Margot Robbie, Zooey Deschanel, Jenna Fisher, Emma Stone. What's Juno's name? Oh my God, Jennifer Aniston. Oh my God, no. Angelina Jolie, Kirsten Dunst, Haley Steinfeld.
Is she? Huh? I don't know.
Wow, half a Zendaya.
No, oh my God. Okay, what you get to 8?
Hey, brother.
That ain't your bag. I just wanted to see where your mind went, for real.
8 is good. 8 is good
for you. Yeah.
Halfway there.
Yeah, man. Good shit. Real quick. Is Haley Steinfeld white? I didn't know she had black in her till this past weekend.
I know, right? I saw that. I was like, all right, we just make.
And then I found out it was my grandfather was half black, half Filipino thing.
She is. Come on now, she's white.
Okay,
she's white.
I'm about to say
black, half Filipino.
That's what I'm saying. No, because I'm gonna tell you what. Before all of this, I was like, okay, she's milk. And then I found out, did you know Haley Steinfeld is partly Filipino? I'm like, okay, word. I could claim that. But then I found out the actual realness of it. I'm like, man, you white, man. Damn.
They're playing with your top. Yeah, I'm about to say, come on.
They thought Zendaya was bad. Man,
yeah,
what is this?
And
half grandfather's crazy.
She ain't never said she was Filipina in her life.
No, she actually has.
Oh, she has?
Oh, like she has Filipino ancestry. Like someone legitimately asked her, like, "Do you have?" Yeah, she's like acknowledged before that she's partly Filipino.
Man, we done with the 90s. We not claiming that though. We not claiming that. No.
Yeah, no, that's because I can't even see it. Like I don't. It is what it is, bro. It is what it is. But Omar, man, appreciate you for coming through as a second guest on Sipping with Souls. Hopefully you had a good time, man.
I love having convos with my guy. You know, I know on cam stuff looks like a certain way, and then how we have conversations may look a certain way. So the parasocials are gonna have their talking points about us. But this my guy for real. He's in real life, for real. In real life, this is my guy. So it's good to come on here.
I wish your conversations on the pod were like this. Not a single time did I feel invalidated.
No, stop. No, we need more conflict. That's the problem. I can't wait till tomorrow for the debate of 9 out of 10 instead of 10 out of 10. Oh, God.
Oh my God.
I'm geared up.
I'm geared up too. We're about to watch it again. Now, mind you, this is how good of a movie I think it is. The only time I've rewatched a movie in theaters was the last Spider-Man movie that came out. Me and my girl about to watch this again. This next weekend.
Oh, this upcoming weekend, for real?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Second watch is crazy.
Second watch is so. How did you watch it the first time? IMAX?
It was not IMAX. That's why we want to rewatch it again. Did you watch it IMAX?
I watched it IMAX. When they got to the fight scene, that screen said, "Whoa."
Apparently that shit got crazy.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's fire. Support Black businesses and Filipino businesses. I like that.
But all right, Omar. Appreciate you for coming through. And I'll catch up with you tomorrow, man.
All right, Pops. See ya.
All right, peace.
Oh.
All right, chat. It's Omar's favorite midnight snack, and we back. Shout out to Omar for coming through. W Conversations, man. Absolutely. W Conversations from the God, the Don. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats that I missed, because I definitely missed a lot. And also, apologies for the technical difficulties in the beginning. That looked kind of crazy. Let me go ahead and do this right here. Boom. Let's read some of these super chats, y'all. Nathan Groover for $2. Y'all didn't have enough clips last year, to be honest. LOL. Yeah, we leaned towards long form a little bit more. There was a period in time where we didn't do short form at all. Abdul for $20 says, the first time I saw Omar was on the peer-to-peer podcast. He was funny as hell. From then on, I knew he'd go far in content creation. Finding both my favorite YouTubers in one pod is what made me start watching. Let's keep it a buck. Appreciate you, man. That being said, let me just check out the scores here real quick. Oh my God, the Warriors won. Warriors won by 10. The Rockets only scored 85 points. Oh my God. Yo. Jalen Green only had 7 points, 3 of 15. Fred VanVleet was 4 for 19. I know, Chad. I'm getting into my basketball bag here real quick, but oh my goodness. This is crazy. Low-key, L day of hoops, though. This was not a great day of hoops for the most part. With that being said, Chad, I think I'm gonna close it off right here. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Shout out to the 182 in the building. Salute to y'all. And with that being said, I'm gonna catch you on the next one.